everyone, welcome to my kitchen. My name is Michael, and today I thought I would share with you my recipe on green lentil soup. I was craving some soup today and I thought let's make some of that, and I had all the ingredients here at home. So I'm going to show you how this comes together. This is a vegan dish. It will not have any meat in it, so if that's something that you're looking for, then definitely you want to try that. Even if you're not, I know you're going to love this recipe on its own. So we're going to start with our base to our soup, our mirepoix, and that is going to be equal parts of our carrots, our celery, and onion. So I'm going to go ahead and start with my carrots, and I've gone on and prepared these. I've taken the ends off of them and I've scraped the outside off of them. If you don't want to scrape the outside off of them, just make sure you give them a good wash so that you get them nice and clean. So we're going to cut these up, and we want all of our pieces of our celery, our carrots, and our onion all to be roughly the same size. The onion will be a little bit more finer than the other ones, but definitely your carrots and your celery, you want those all similar pieces so that they will cook a little bit easier and they will all come together about the same time. So I'm going to go ahead and prepare these carrots, and I will be back in just a minute. All right, I've got my carrots cut up, and that was 3 carrots that I did cut up, so you can see what those kind of look like. I'm going to transfer them to this bowl, and we're going to put everything in this one bowl before we start cooking. All right, let's start working on our celery now. You definitely want to take care with these because mine had a lot of sand on them, and so we definitely want to make sure we get those clean. And I usually cut the part of the bottom off here where the white part of it starts into the green, and then I take the tops off of them like that. And the same thing with our celery is you just want to kind of cut that up so that that all has kind of the same uniform pieces that our carrots did, because we want all of that to cook about the same time. I'm going to go ahead and dice these 3 stalks of celery up, and I'll be right back. All right, I've got my celery cut up now, and you can see what that looks like, about the same size pieces as my carrots. And let's transfer that to our bowl. Now I've got 1 onion here. This is about a medium-sized onion, and I'm going to take that and I'm going to dice that up. And remember, when you're doing that, take off the ends of it, and we want to take off that outer skin that's on there before we start dicing. There we go. Now we can dice up our onion. All right, we've got our onion cut up now, and I'm going to go ahead and transfer that over to the bowl. Now that we've got our carrots, our celery, and our onion chopped up, let's go ahead and work on our garlic. Now I've got about 4 cloves of garlic here, and I'm going to go ahead and mince that up. And remember how to do that is we just take the ends off of it, give that a little push until you hear it pop. Then you can remove the skin off of it, and then we'll dice it up. So I'm going to dice this up, and I'll be right back. All right, now that I've got my garlic minced up, I'm going to go ahead and transfer that to this little ramekin. All right, let's continue to work on our vegetables. I've got some potatoes here. These are yellow Yukon Gold. If you like russet ones, you can definitely do those. If you don't want any potatoes in yours, you can definitely leave them out. With any of these ingredients, you can put in as less or as much as you want them. If you don't like the celery or you just want a little hint of it, you can definitely use less of that. Same thing with the onions. It's all up to you. This is your recipe as you're going to make it. I'm going to cut those up. Those are probably about 1/2 inch, and we're just going to kind of dice those up a little bit. As you can see what I've got there, and I'm going to put these back in this bowl, and I'll get everything all chopped up, and I'll be right back. All right, I've got my potatoes cut out now. I'm going to take these to the sink, and I'm going to give these a good rinse to wash some of that starch off of them. That's optional too. If you don't want to do that, you don't have to. I'm going to go rinse these, and I'll be right back. I am back. I've got my potatoes diced up now, and we're ready to start putting our soup together. This is going to be a 1-pot soup, so I've got it heating up here, and I'm going to put just a little bit of extra virgin olive oil down in the bottom of it. And just kind of give that a good covering on the bottom, because we want to make sure that all of our veggies that we're going to put in there get a nice cover on them. So we'll keep a watch on that. I'm going to let that heat up just for a second. All right, now that my oil has come up to temperature, I'm just going to go ahead and add my vegetables here, and that will be my carrots, my celery, and my onions. We've got our mixture now in our pot, and I'm just going to continue to kind of stir these around. We want to cook these for about 5 to 7 minutes. We were looking for the onions to get a little bit translucent, and we want our celery and our carrots to get a little bit soft. So we're going to keep a watch on this. Keep a watch on your temperature. You definitely don't want the onions to start browning. We're just looking for a translucency to them. So I'm going to turn this down just a little bit. I'll continue to cook these, and I'll show you the progress. Right, I wanted to show you my soup base now. This has been cooking for about 5 minutes, and at this point now we want to add our garlic. So we'll take our garlic and we'll add that in. Want to definitely add this in toward the end because we don't want to take a chance on our garlic burning. And we're just going to mix that around and kind of wake that up a little bit. We'll cook that for about 1 minute. All right, it's been about 1 minute now. Let's go ahead and add our other spices that we've got here. I've got 2 teaspoons of cumin. I've got 1 teaspoon of dried oregano. I've got 1 teaspoon of parsley, and I've got 1 teaspoon of thyme. And we'll just give that a stir around and kind of wake that up. This already is smelling amazing. I'm going to turn that down just a little bit more, and I'm going to measure out 2 tablespoons of tomato paste. And we'll go ahead and put that in. All right, now that we've got our 2 tablespoons of tomato paste in, let's kind of stir that around a little bit. Now I've got 2 14.5 ounce cans of diced tomatoes, and we're going to go ahead and add those in. And let's give that a good little stir through. Now I'm going to turn this back up now that I've got some liquid in there, back up to medium, and we're going to bring that temperature back up on those. And now we're going to add in our potatoes. Right, now that we've got our potatoes in, let's give that a good mix through so we get that seasoning on all of those as well. Now we're going to add in 6 cups of veggie stock. If you want to use chicken stock, you can, but if you want to keep this vegan, then definitely use the vegetable stock here, or you can use water if you want to. Now that we've got our vegetable stock into our pot now, we're going to bring this back up to a boil. And while this is heating up, I'm going to go ahead and give this one last little stir through. And the star of the show today is green lentils, and I'm going to get out and measure out 1 cup of my green lentils. I'm going to go to the sink and give those a rinse, and we'll come back and we'll put those into our mixture. So 1 cup of dried lentils, the green ones, and I'll be right back. All right, I am back, and I wanted to show you what my soup looks like. Now I did take my lentils over to the sink and give them a rinse. I did rinse them 3 times, so I've got those here. I've let my soup come up to a boil, and I've let it cook here for about 5 minutes. I kind of wanted to give it just a little bit of a head start so my potatoes get done. I don't want to put my lentils in right when it's you put everything else in, because these will get done a lot faster than everything else will. So this has been cooking for about 5 minutes on boiling. So now let's add our lentils into our soup. We've added our lentils now into our soup, and I'm going to turn this down to a simmer, and I'm going to put the lid on it. And I just want the lid to be vented on the side just a little bit. I don't want to completely cover the top. I'm going to let this simmer now between 20 to 25 minutes. We'll see what my potatoes look like. Come back every 5 minutes and just keep stirring on this. You don't want to let this sit without stirring. I'll be back and I'll let you see this when my potatoes are fork tender, and we'll move on to our next step. We've got a surprise we're going to put in this. I am back and my soup is almost done. We've got just a few more things we're going to do, but I wanted to show you what it looks like. I did check my potatoes and they are done. So now we want to check for our seasoning. So this has been cooking for about 30 minutes, and you can kind of see what that looks like there. So I'm just going to grab some of this here and put this in this little bowl, and I'm going to get me a spoonful and see if I need to add any salt or pepper. All right, that is really good, but we do need a little bit more seasoning in it, so we're going to add some salt and pepper to it. This is where you want to test your seasoning to see if you need to add anything else. If there's anything else in the soup that you like that you want to put in it, you can definitely do that now. So I'm going to put in probably around a teaspoon of salt and maybe half a teaspoon of pepper. And I'm going to let that cook for just a few more minutes, and then we'll try it to see what we're doing. And then there's always an opportunity that I'm going to try to find to put some greens in my soups and things. So I've got some spinach here, and this was triple washed, and I do have it sitting in this colander. And I'm going to take 1 lemon, and this is a fairly large lemon. I'm going to cut it in half. If you've got one of the smaller ones, you might just use one of the smaller ones, but I'm going to take the juice of this large one here, about half of it, and I'm going to put it right into my soup. I'm looking for about a tablespoon to 2 tablespoons of it, and you can definitely take that for taste. If you like a little bit more of it, you can put more in it. And if you don't want to put it in at all, you can definitely just leave it like it is. Just put your salt and pepper in it, and then test it to see if you need to add anything else to it, if you need to add any more of the original seasonings to it. So now I'm going to put my spinach in there, and this is going to look like a lot, but if you've ever cooked spinach before, you know that this will cook down to nothing and will just disappear into our soup and be really good for this. It's going to add a lot of nutrients and vitamins to it, and who doesn't like that? So now let's put that in there. I'm going to put the lid back on it. I'm going to cook this for about 5 more minutes, and then I'll let you see what that looks like. And if we need to add any more salt and pepper after this cooks for a few more minutes, we'll definitely take a look at it then. But now check your seasonings, check to see if you need to add any more lemon, if you need anything else added to it. And we're going to put the lid back on it, and I'll cook it for another 5 minutes. And I'm just going to barely put it on there. I'm not going to close it up, and I'll see you back when it's done. I am back, and it's been 5 more minutes, and I wanted to show you what my finished soup looks like. That looks incredible. So let's get a little bowl here and give this a taste test. Look at that, those greens in there. Could not get any better. And look at the consistency of that stock that's in that soup. That is a really rich looking soup. So I'm gonna get me a little bowl of it here, and I'm gonna let this cool down just a minute because it is piping hot, and we'll give this a test. All right, let's give our soup a try. Look at that, those carrots, those potatoes, those lentils in there, that celery. It smells incredible. And let's give this a try and see what it tastes like. My gosh, that soup is absolutely delicious. All those flavors coming out in that, just the right amount of seasoning in it. And I know you're gonna love this soup. It's probably one of my favorites that I make. I hope this has inspired you to try my green lentil soup. And if you like this content, don't forget to give me a thumbs up. I would appreciate it. And check out one of these other 2 videos over here. You might find something else you like. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And I'll see you in my next video. Try this green lentil soup. I know you're going to love it. Bye-bye now. Delicious.